Alright, hello and welcome to the second episode of Gaming World News. I'm sorry it took so long. I just had a lot going on. It's been so long that I lost the glasses and my tie's different, and I'm sorry for the 80 people that watched the last video. I apologize for the continuity error. My bad. There's a lot of things going on in the gaming news right now. There's like Warhammer releases, Elden Ring was great, their Concord just happened and went away. Star Wars Outlaws released recently, and followed up with the Assassin's Creed release. But let's look at Star Wars Outlaws first. Well, even despite flying out multiple YouTubers and influencers out to Disneyland for their release and stuff, I mean, Miranda Lorian here is still making, videos to this day about Star Wars Outlaws. I mean, she obviously will because her name is Miranda Lorian. There are other YouTubers as well. And that's not really cool. That's you're kind of influencing someone's opinion here. Keep your money out of gaming journalism. This is not politics. Let's talk about the game itself. You remember playing the old Jedi games with like star lightsabers and force powers? And if it give you a gun, do you ever use that gun? No, you always use the fucking lightsaber or the force power. But here, there is no lightsaber, and all you have is a blaster, and the enemies are pretty much sponges for you to just blast through. There's not that much enemy variety. With your stealth, your melee hits don't really make an impact. They kind of look like this. What the fuck are helmets for? I mean, if you can't get punched in the face and survive, and you can't, take a blaster shot to the face, driving on a speedster sucks because you can't see shit. Fuck are helmets actually even for? Doesn't make sense. You just punched him in the face like once and he died. Speaking of speeder bikes, like when you're riding on speeder bikes, there are enemies shooting at you and you're supposed to be the outlaw badass that can't shoot back. What the fuck do you mean I can't shoot back in my speeder? That just doesn't make any sense. There's a lockpicking game. I mean, lockpicking games absolutely suck. I hated the lockpicking game in Hogwarts Legacy and I hate it here. It's just why? Well, upon release, it didn't really do that well, honestly. It did about 1 million copies in the first months it sold. If you compare like games like Stellar Blade, it did about 1 million copy in 2 months. So in that perspective, you think, hey, that's pretty good. But this is Ubisoft, baby. We're talking about $200 to $300 million for the cost to make this shit. It's not looking good. Now, they do have DLC planned and other quality of life improvements coming to the game. We'll see. Maybe they'll turn it around like Cyberpunk. Speaking of Assassin's Creed Shadows, set in Japan. Now, it came out with some controversy on the trailer. Now look, like Yasuke is a fictional character. There's barely any evidence, him being a samurai and all that stuff. Has Assassin's Creed done this kind of stuff before? Yeah, of course. Like Margaret Thatcher in canon is a Templar. Come on, it's fiction. Let's calm down on that front. But when Yasuke went into a boss fight during the trailer, hip-hop music started playing. Now that's a little cringe. It's kind of like going to a Thanksgiving dinner and you brought your girlfriend over and your girlfriend's like happened to be a black girl, and then your uncle goes up to the radio or whatever and starts playing Tupac, and then he goes like, I thought I put on some tunes. It's just weird, man. It's just weird. So don't do that. Like they can probably change that. Like remember in the Gladiator trailer when the hip hop music started coming and you were like, what the fuck? This sucks. And then they changed the trailer into the more thing that I remember. And that was great. Now we're like, oh, maybe the movie's good. Like it matters. So they can probably change that. Hopefully. But that's not all of the problem. The problem is the whole time during the release, they were like, oh, how historically accurate it is, how many references they've taken from Japanese culture and history and this and that. Like they were just pushing it a bit too hard. There's this one type of people who really know about their history and like to do things the traditional way. It's the fucking Japanese. You think they won't notice some bullshit you put in their trailer? You've done that before. That's not a problem because you kept on saying how great it is, and then people looked at it and they were like, no, not so much. For example, they just released the small chibi statue figurine things. Now, normally nobody would bat an eye, but since everybody's really looking, what else they would do? Notice that the Torii Gate that is on that figure, that's the same Torii Gate as that represents the bombing of Nagasaki. Like, that's a historical monument to remember the time that happened. It's just bad and bad and bad. And then This trailer got released. Ghost of Tsushima was a great game. It had fantastic music. The environments were, oh my god, like they were so good. And anyone who has slaughtered a whole camp and slowly walked while playing a flute exactly knows what I'm talking about. How amazing that game was, like following foxes around and birds around to find shrines. It was just so immersive. Like I removed all the HUD and was just playing without anything. It was just the best thing. So another chapter, Ghost of Yotei, is coming out, and they released the trailer. And when that flute brought back memory. But in Ubisoft, it probably brought back some bad kind of memories. So they released a statement saying they have to delay the game to work on like the experience and to refine and polish the game and whatnot. They delayed it to February 14, which is Valentine's Day. I don't know what the fuck does that mean. Remember the quadruple A disaster Skull and Bones games? Like as soon as you enter the game, the community rules pop up of Ubisoft asking you to play nice and play fair. That the whole thing goes against everything Jack Sparrow stands for. Like, what are you talking about? This isn't like these keep hurting the company, and their share price had dropped like almost 50%, more than 50% from last year. And because of stuff like that, there are actually rumors of Tencent, the tech company, to actually buy out Ubisoft completely. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, and Ubisoft is good at making games. Like I played their recent Prince of Persia game, the side platformer, and it was really good. Like it was fantastic. It had like really good bosses. The boss fights were amazing. The levels were great. And like if you put more characters in there, design more levels for that game, I bet it will do really good. But I don't know why they keep copy pasting the same Call of Duties, the same Assassin's Creeds, just taking these big IPs and fucking them up, and it's just slop after slop after slop. And like it reminds me of Disney. Disney just did their D23, and while looking at their roster or what they have planned, like it's like Frozen 3, Incredibles 3, Moana 2, Toy Story 5, RDJ is coming back as Doctor Doom. It's just repeat after repeat after repeat. It's like there's a time where you go like, oh, this is Thor with an eye patch. This is Thor with a haircut. This is Chris Hemsworth shirtless. And it's just, you just get tired of seeing the character not being portrayed in a meaningful way. And it's just kind of sloppy. So I was kind of disappointed in all of the... Sorry about the police siren. It's New York. It's gonna happen. I'm not gonna cut this out. We have lost track. Let's go back to things that I did enjoy. So I'm not really gonna talk about Shadow of the Erdtree because it's Elden fucking Ring. Miyazaki is like the best thing that's ever happened to gamers ever. He is king. He is God. Praise the sun and all of that. Grace guides him, and we are all but tarnished who are just compelled to follow. Wukong. So, Wukong, great fucking game. Now, Wukong actually started with like 7 people. And when they released the trailer like 4 to 6 years ago, there were like about 60 people working on the game. And after the trailer got released, they got like 10,000 applications. And now they're a team of about 140 people that worked on this, according to the credits of Wukong. I was pretty... What the fuck happened to the light? Okay. I was pretty skeptical about... We'll just continue the rest in utter darkness because I don't know what the fuck just happened. Like I said, it's been a while. I forgot to charge my shit. So, Wukong. Yes, Wukong. Now, Wukong is a great fucking game. Now, I was skeptical in the beginning for Wukong as well. I just finished Shadow of the Erdtree and I was like, do I really need to play another Souls-like game? Wukong is just a monkey with a stick. And you bonk your stick, and that's about it. You have few stances with your stick, which is cool, and you have a few spells. But then I started seeing a lot of the reviews that it's really good and this and that. Okay, I'll try Wukong out. Bought the game, started playing it, 3 hours in, the monkey was in me. Like before this, I don't really know anything about Wukong. Like the only things I know about the Monkey King is from Dragon Ball Z, that old Monkey King game that I played in like PlayStation 1. I don't even remember what the fuck it's called. It's just a really solid game, you know? There's no microtransactions. There's no like crazy Ubisoft side quest. You can just say Ubisoft side quest and you will know exactly what I mean. So there's none of that. The combat, I thought it was going to be simple, and it kind of is. The complexity comes with the sheer amount of challenges you have to deal with. There's like about 80 bosses, and all with different unique movesets. Every new zone is different with different enemies. It looks spectacular. Like it really looks like a vision that someone had and wanted to present to the world, rather than figuring out what the vision should be so they can make a lot of money. You know, like big companies versus small indie companies, like you can really see the difference. I have never played a Warhammer game. The only thing I know about Warhammer is me and Henry Cavill both like Warhammer, and me and Henry Cavill both like World of Warcraft, and me and Henry Cavill both like The Witcher. So that's my only relationship. When Space Marine 2 came out and people started saying it's a really good game, it's this, they have PvP. I'm not much of a PvP guy, but the campaign has a lot of like the lore of Warhammer. They really captured it. So I was like, okay, if this is like a really solid game and I want to check out the Warhammer universe, maybe this is the one to do it. Bought the game and started playing, and you know, not every game needs to have like a 200-hour playthrough. I don't need Elden Ring. I don't need Final Fantasy in every game I play. Sometimes games like Shadow of Mordor, for example, fantastic game. And it's a small campaign, very nice, like amazingly designed campaign, has a lot of spectacle, a lot of seriousness, voice acting is amazing. And then you have a nemesis system to kind of just play more of the game once you're done with the campaign, if you're still want to spend more time with the game. And that's the type of games I think that are really amazing. Few minutes into Warhammer, I knew I was into something special because I saw this thing. Now this baby it's not like this baby. Now this baby is a different baby. Once I started the campaign, I started really enjoying it. Like I am a big fan of Lord of the Rings. Like I love Lord of the Rings, and I love the pure themes of Lord of the Rings, how clear the themes are. Warhammer is very clear in its message as well. It's basically you against anything that's not the Imperium. But if it's not with the Emperor,
beg your gods for mercy. I have none.
And by the end of the campaign, every time I got off the game, like I was watching Warhammer lore videos. Like there was no time. If I was on YouTube, I was watching Warhammer videos. I was ready for more. I was not done with Warhammer. And then I jumped into the PvE and the PvP aspect, and I really enjoyed my time in Warhammer too. Now, am I gonna keep playing it? I'm not really sure. If they add more game modes to it, I think I'll enjoy it more. I really do enjoy these co-op PvE type of situations like Helldivers. But that's all I have for this time. I hope I see you guys in the coming episode, which I promise will be sooner than this one. But if it's not, maybe I was, really big.
What is the fate of those that turn from the light? Death! And what will you cry as you tear into the traitor's heart?
For the end.